Hey, Jeremy. Hey, Tyler. You guys hear me okay?
Yeah, your sounds good.
All right, cool. All right, we'll get this thing started. Happy Sunday, everybody. We're going to get this thing started, kicked off right. We got Robert on. Good to see everybody here. Uh, I know folks are flowing into the room, so really appreciate everybody being on. Perfect. Just going to take a look at this. All right. We're getting going. All right. See some familiar names. Robert Simmons, good to have you on. Robert Branham, happy to have you here. Um, Guy, good to be with you in Baltimore. I know Robert and Thomas and I really enjoyed that being with you all earlier this week. Oh, I think it was on Friday. And good to see everybody joining us. Okay. All right. Dun, dun, dun. I think we got our chat fixed for this week. All right. Got some things going pretty good. All right. This is actually working out quite well already. All right. Love this. This is moving in a good direction. Um, so I want to thank everybody for joining in. Q&A is up and going. The chat is working fine. We've gotten some fixes going this weekend so we don't have our normal hiccups at the beginning. We're also live streaming to our YouTube channel right now. So appreciate everybody who's joining us there as well. We're getting better at this as we grow. We hope to kick it off in even better form in July on July 6th for our next call. So thank you to all 50 some of you who are hopping on and coming in and seeing it going. So tonight's call is really exciting. I'm sure many of you, whether you've been watching what's going on over these last 24 hours, I'm sure many of you, like myself and like my family, are wondering what's the state of this new world as we're waking up and seeing what's happening. Um, it's a scary time. I think us as Black men are not only concerned about what happens in our communities and happens to each other, but we are also very much trying to figure out how we exist in this new order to make sure everything's working well for our families. Um, but because of this, we're going to continue doing the work that we do consistently and showing up, whether that's through our resource emails that come out every Tuesday, that we hope that you had a chance to see recently and participate in the poll, or if it's signing up to be a part of our new listening tour that all of us here at Women Black Men are really excited about, or you're a partner on the ground and you want to figure out more ways that you can engage with us. So tonight, a part of tonight's conversation is going to talk to you about how this all intertwines and where we can go. As always, our chat is live. Our Q&A is right there. So we'd love for you to participate. But tell us where you're from. If you can drop in the chat. We know we've got a Kai coming in from Baltimore, got Ken from Colorado. If there's others that want to drop in where they're logging on this evening, we'd appreciate it. So we know we have some of our brothers joining us this evening. Gotcha. We got Damien in NYC, Ahmad in New Orleans, K. Durrell in Austin, Texas. Thank you. Wow. Okay. Good. Love it. Love it. Um, we're looking for some help in Virginia and in Texas. We're looking for our state captains. Robert, if you can go ahead and drop that in the chat right now, we'd love to find some state captains in Virginia and in Texas that we're going to be doing some of our work coming up. You see Robert from Miami. Okay. Perfect. Keep it coming. Keep it coming. So a part of this work, many of you have joined us since we got this thing started at the end of 2023 and been going in 2024. We really appreciate those who've joined us. I think I saw Augusta, Georgia on here. Many of you have joined us when there weren't a whole lot of people on these calls. And so the excitement of this is to continue this work. And so I'm sure many of you have been wondering, what is the next step? We've been convening, we've been talking, we've been sharing information. Where is Win with Black Men trying to take us? The answer to that question is on a journey that is going to take us not only just this year in 2025, but 2026, 27, 28, and beyond. So a part of this listening tour is really, we heard from many of you last year that said we're going to show up. I think Robert and I were at a barbershop in Clinton Township in Michigan, just outside of Detroit. And the barber there said, man, y'all ain't going to be back until it's another election season. And we made a promise that we would continue our work. I want to thank Robert and Jeremy and Tyler and Thomas and all of our Women Black Men team who's been helping us trying to figure out ways to keep our conversations going. And thanks, Tim in Texas. Robert is going to reach out. He's going to populate that comment in the chat one more time. But we haven't done a very good job. And we were talking to some folks over the weekend and earlier that we haven't seen many articles around Black men since November 6th. What we have seen is that the conversation just sort of disappeared back into the ether. Well, we here at Women with Black Men want to make sure that we're continuing this conversation. So our listening tour is designed in a very unique way. Taking a lot of feedback over the last couple of weeks, who've reached out, who've shared, who've gone online, who DM'd us or emailed us to say, hey, they had some concerns and they wanted us to figure it out. So whether that was a quote that we had that may not have resonated, or the style and the type of work that we're doing. The main part of our listening tour is divided into 3 parts, but the underlying buttress is around data that we're bringing back to our community. So part 1 is working with, and all of this, let me say before I get into the details, our entire listening tour is designed. If Robert, if you can go to and type it in the chat for me, unmuted tour, just so the page can pop up, and put that in the chat for everybody. But the goal here is to take our conversation to you on the ground. We are not trying to recreate systems or structures. That's not it at all. But what we are trying to do is galvanize from what we've heard from many of you around this country, that Black men are not being listened to. And so we want to create a cohesive weave of that information. This is not being driven or funded by a political party by any shape or form. I think the unmuted tour, if I can share my screen, I'm going to try to do it in just a second here. It'll take you to it. Let me make sure that pops up. Yep. Okay. I'll share my screen in a second. Actually, let me do that now so everybody can see. Perfect. 3, 2, 1. If you haven't had a chance, you're going to come right here to the Women with Black Men Listening Tour Unmuted. Thank you to Jeremy on our team who came up with the title of our tour and led us on that. But you can go here. It's right there in the chat. You can click on it and you can sign up to be a part of the tour. Later on this week, you'll be able to then sign up in the state. If you haven't also, sign up on our main page to get our resource email. So it's right here for you. Again, you can join our tour, but then we have information about Black dads. Okay, I'm going to come back over and stop the share so that we can come back on the main screen and chat about it. But please visit the link inside the chat that we got going right now. Sign up to be a part of the tour. But this isn't to recreate. I talked to a few folks who thought because of other work that's happened, we are trying to reinvent the wheel, if you will. That's not what we're trying to do at all. We are legitimately just saying there isn't national data that we've seen that has coalesced what a brother in Texas feels like, because there's 3.8 million African Americans in Texas, to the brother in Maryland and LA, to Minneapolis, Minnesota, to all across this country, and weaving those conversations in a way that gives us a better tapestry and understanding about where Black men sit in the American uh, ideology right now, and so where we are. So we want, and we're calling upon, and that's why the state captain role is so important. They're on the ground. They are engaged in their communities already, and they've just raised their hand to be a part of this movement to help us figure out how we can leverage those connections and those thoughts and ideas of work that's already happening. So whether you're Million Man Vote and you're here in DC, where I happen to be, and you're working with Ambrose Lane and Robert Johnson and Robert Branham and others, whether you're a part of Black Men Vote or Black Men Voter Project, Black Men Build, or other groups that we may just not know, whether you're meeting in a church basement to a YMCA gym, wherever you may be, the goal here is to bring us together. And it's not saying that we're the end all be all, by no means, shape, or form. We applaud all the other groups I just mentioned, and I'm sure there are more that I have not mentioned that are out there, whether you're the Collective PAC, whether you're Roland Martin, Kairos Democracy Project, Bakari Sellers, or others who are out there leading the fight in the good work. We want to partner with you. We are excited to do this work with you. So it's not seeing that, for those that can remember the scene from Lean on Me, where Morgan Freeman and the other actor are saying, well, who's the new H blank IC? That's not it. We are not that at all. We are literally calling upon brothers to say, hey, we want to do this work collaboratively with you. I know someone made a critique of Women Black Men recently that said we happen to only be majority brothers who make over a certain income range or only attended college or maybe a part of a fraternity or a social group. We welcome you, yes, but we also welcome brothers who are a part of our returning citizen population, who are part of our LGBTQ AI plus community, who are part of our labor community, faith, veterans, every brother who wakes up every day and steps out into the American world. I like to say, when you get pulled over, because it just happens, your FICO score doesn't pop up. They don't get to see that. They don't get to know what your income is. They don't know where you're from. They don't know who you are. They just see you as a Black man in America. And I think if we can coalesce around doing this in communal work, we are excited about that. So that is the baseline for how we're doing this work. What this means is that we're going to try to, as we go on this tour and truly listen, a part of this means, in part one, we are going to try to engage with those that may be in some type of supervision. They may be in a detention center. They may be a returning citizen. And no, that does not mean the lion's share of African-American men are part of the prison industrial complex or under some type of supervision. But what we do know is that to exclude them from the process, which means that if their rights haven't been re-enfranchised or not currently enfranchised, they're not on the voting rolls, which means they're not getting polled, they're not getting texted, they're not receiving mail, they're not a part of the political process, which means their thoughts and ideals are left out. So they're not being asked, where do you see this country going? Where do you believe we should be improving upon? And so we thought it was critical that we figure out a way to engage this community and being led by other community members. So part one of the day is going to be sitting with them for about 2 hours and listening. So there's an ethnographic qualitative study that we're going to do on the front end that will require us to hear information from them. They're going to share with us. And then part two of the day, so it's 2 hours, hopefully, if we go over, that's okay, obviously. But part two, in partnership with HIT Strategies, we're building out a focus group questionnaire that we're going to ask of these men. And so you're probably thinking right now, as you're on this call, well, that's great. How does this help a community group on the ground that wants to be a part of this? Are we taking information from and not sharing back? Well, the answer to that is no. If you're a community group that wants to get engaged, you can fill out the form that we just put in the chat. I'll go ahead and make sure I copy that and put into everybody right now so everybody can see. Boom. If you fill that out and you're a part of the conversation, an MOU is going to come out to you as a community member. We're not asking. So if you don't want to help support this tour at all, great. We would love it, but we understand you as a community group. So $0 to a certain window, allows you access to pieces of this data. So if you are the ABC group in Galveston, Texas, following up on Juneteenth, and you want to have information that you want to put into a grant funding document for you in your city or your state or even nationally, and you want to have a better understanding where this is, there's a certain level of pieces of data that we're going to share with you freely. We want you to have access to this information. There's others that are going to support this that may have other access to other pieces of the data just because in order to do this, we need funders to help us get around. But again, this is not being driven by a party. I want to thank my big sister in this movement, Angela Rye, Pastor McBride, David Johns, Joyanne Reed, Vince Evans, Dominic Whitehead, DeWanna Thompson, and the list can go on and on. I know I'm blanking on a few others who've been leading the State of the People Power Tour, who've been going around the country and having these conversations and leading them. And as I was watching this, to complement and to supplement the amazing work that's been done, wanted to figure out a way that we could dive in even more to engaging in Black men. So part one is trying to figure out how we talk to this community and how we listen to this community, take information back, and then share that. Okay. And please, if you have questions, populate them in the Q&A, put them in the chat. Part two is a mutual aid distribution. So in general, what we're looking for is part one would happen from 12 to 2, and then from 4 to 6, we would be distributing mutual aid. We're looking at giving away funding on a utility bill, gas, water, electric. If it's 30 days late and or in cancellation, it needs to meet one of those two requirements in order to receive the mutual aid. But up to a certain threshold, we're going to try to help with that bill. We're looking at also funding a small stipend to a Black-owned grocery store in the community, as well as a small stipend to a Black-owned gas station. Again, this isn't trying to take away, but if we're coming into a community, we know times are tough. Man, it is hot here in DC, as I'm sure it's in other places, reaching to 90 degrees. And maybe it's hard to keep that AC unit on. And what we're trying to say, if there's a brother that's trying to figure out how they're helping out their family or their loved ones, or they're older or they're younger and they have medication, or they're trying to determine rent, maybe this support will help and will get them to come out to want to share their experiences. Brother Jeff Johnson at State of the People Power Tour in Baltimore, the national convening that just closed out yesterday, held a session with myself and Vince Evans and Dominic Whitehead to talk about mental health with Black men. And he opened up about some of his experiences, and I, as well as others, did, to say, look, I mean, it's tough out there. And so this mutual aid piece is to let that guard down and say, hey, we need some help. I know my own brother who's out of New York, and my other friend family who I call upon get on me all the time about not being as open and as vulnerable, because we all probably say, man, I'm good. I don't need anything. I'm all right. And there's some days that we're not. And that's okay. We got to figure out a way to do that. And so a part of this mutual aid is to not only help with a tangible thing, to start a conversation with a larger thing. And I'll get how that will grow, not only at Win with Black Men, but our new C3 that we're launching, a part of this work, Winning with Black Men. And then part 3 of the day is very similar to what we've done in part 1, but a dinner, and we're going to provide a meal in part 1 as well, but a dinner that we're going to host in the city for Black men to come out. We're going to try to get at least 100 Black men to gather around a table and do the same thing, be a listening session where we're hearing from them, provide a survey where we're getting ethnographic and qualitative information back, and then also providing a focus group at the end of that so that we're collecting the data on where Black men can think. So I'm sure many of you are sitting here thinking like, well, we pretty much know. Well, what I'm sharing is, and I know Jeremy, Tyler, and Robert, when he hops back on, we'll see, is the frustrations that we have is that many have made decisions, whether it's on digital or on mail or on advertising, based on sometimes, whether it's well-meaning or it's not, stereotypical notions for what it means to be a Black man in America and what our issues are and where we're standing. And so just like we had in our resource email, many of you, did you know that 70% of Black men participate in the child rearing of their child's lives, whether that means diaper changing, bathing, or feeding, which is higher than 65% of Hispanic men. This is coming from a 2013 CDC study. And so we want to make sure that we're sharing more of that data with you. I'm going to come back to a point in a minute because I know some of our team members have dug a little deeper and we're working on the infographics for you. But let me pause here and let's see in the chat. Perfect. I may have missed this about information. We want to get questions from you about what this tour means and what thoughts you may have. Mr. About how to add a city. Great. We appreciate that. We are looking at part 2. We're trying to get through the 18 for part 1. But yes, please reach out to us. I'm going to copy and paste Robert's information that he put in his email for you to follow up with him as well. We made the determination based off of a scientific methodology. States and cities that have the highest African American populations and or states and cities that have the highest per capita populations of African Americans. And then we looked at where are African American men in those cities as well. And so it's not battleground states that you would normally think in an election cycle making those determinations. Yeah, so I think Charlotte is one of our cities that we're looking at. And I'll do a better job as I'm thinking through this right now. I'm going to try to see if I can pull up the tour overview. Boom, boom, boom. Give me one sec, everybody, as I pull this up. But keep the questions coming as you all are asking about where our tour is going. Let me see if I can do this. Boop, boop, boop. Should take me to the overview page. Nope. Maybe it's program. Yep. All right. I'm going to touch this. Boom. So many of you have seen this. It's populating right here. Throw it in the chat for everyone. You can go to this link and we're updating this. Perfect. So Marcus said, I appreciate the interest in doing ethnographic studies. It's needed. I'm a qualitative researcher myself. Yes. So Marcus, I think you reached out to us about some things on education. I will definitely follow up with you. Appreciate it. But if you follow that link right there, I see a question Q&A. Anthony Brown, please. We have several constituency groups in Cleveland, Ohio area that could benefit and or support this kind of effort. Is the tour open to all men of color? Some of the male groups here also engage with Hispanic and Latinx community. I think it's a great question, Anthony. However, and this is not opposed to working with them in the future, but right now our work wants to center specifically and solely on Black men. And that isn't a comment on Latinx or API men or any other groups that are coming to this table. But what we find is that there are variances and nuances in how we ask the questions within the Black male community, let alone once we start adding in other groups to make sure that they can be a part of the process. Hold on one second. Sorry. So we wanted to make sure we can start with our group, start with home first. And then I think as we build this out, we're more than happy. This is step 1. This is the foundation, the building blocks. Okay, Keith Camper, good to see that. I'm gonna go back to these before. Yeah, Chicago's on there, Carol Boone. I'm gonna try to see if I can share my screen and answer some of these as they come in. What does serving as a state captain look like? Ahmad, yeah, let's happy to get you in touch with Robert. So Robert Simmons, no, I think I was clear. We are looking at only focusing on Black men. That's the main point of our focus. Someone had asked a question if we could, but no, Women Black Men's goal is to have our work solely focused on Black men right now. Perfect. Okay, so Illinois, glad you can see it, Carol, and others. In terms of the content, rather than the date, could you please explain the types of questions you're planning to ask? So yeah, they range from where you see community, where you see leadership, and we're still building these out right now, not only with soon-to-be community partners. So I know John Taylor over at Black Men Build and others have expressed an interest, as well as working with Hit Strategies and other social scientists to make sure. Now, we're not going to be able to ask everything. Like I would love it if we could figure it out, and we're doing the best thing that we can to make sure it's the most comprehensive. But we feel that this research will glean us not only viable data, but viable information that has been missing right now. So why don't we do this? Because I know people are asking if their city is on. I am going to go ahead and share my screen so people can see, and then we can take it from there. Boom, boom, boom. So folks don't have to wonder, and this we can walk through this document. Okay, perfect. Everybody should be able to see this. Jeremy, is this coming through okay? Thumbs up from you.
Yep.
Okay, perfect. So this is our tour. If you're looking at it right there, it shows you all of the states, 18 that we're looking at, from Maryland, Pennsylvania, New Jersey, New York, Washington, D.C., Virginia, North Carolina, South Carolina, Georgia, Florida, Alabama, Mississippi, Louisiana, Texas, Michigan, Illinois, Ohio, and California. Hashtag Win with Black Men Unmuted, hashtag Listen Up. Here are, again, the states that were coming in. Again, meeting Black men where they are. To quote James Baldwin, I am what time, circumstance, history have made of me, certainly, but I am also much more than that. So are we all. Okay. We talked about what part 1 and part 2 looks like. Ultimately, this data will help women, Black men create more the Black male policy agenda. I will guide into that in just a second. But this is where we're looking to go. As we're looking at these states right here, we are also looking to partner with HBCUs on the ground in these locations. And so our work is, oops, sorry, didn't mean to click that. Go back. Our work is, we know that enrollment in college and historically Black colleges, especially for Black men, is down. And so we're trying to make sure as we're having these conversations that we can do them on an HBCU campus would be great. All of these cities don't necessarily have an HBCU campus. So let's take New York, for example. We're looking at SUNY Medgar Evers College in Brooklyn as an example of an institution that has a high Black population and serving the Black community, but may not be historically Black college and university. Okay. Again, reviewing. I think this is the part that's the most important, the why. We talked about what happened in 2024, the large focus being placed on Black men and evaluating how they would participate in the presidential election. However, Black men stated they did not feel heard from the political party or politician. So this tour is designed not to focus on party, but to structurally listen to the views, expressions, desires of Black men for their futures that are no different from any other American. We're going to be visiting 18 cities over this period of time. We're not only focusing just on 18 to 30, but we want to hear from them. We want your voices to be a part of in the room, but then 30 plus and up. And we want to make sure that you know, like as we're doing, and I'm not doing a good job of it this evening as I'm talking, but this isn't about proselytizing about what you do per in your city. It's how can you share what you have going on? Because we've all been a part of some of these conversations, whether it's in the shop that you're going on a Saturday morning, and a more veteran, an OG, an old head of the community may come in, and an elder may want to sit and chat because they have information to share. But we also know that we have quieted and silenced so many of our young Black men that we want to make sure we're bridging that divide in a way that respects both sides and both generations and brings them together so that we can hear their voices. So let me pause here. I'm going to go back to the chat and stop sharing just for a quick sec so I can see if there's anything else that's come in. If we need to bring it back up, we will. Okay. Michael Dawkins said, how exactly can this community be a change agent for the Afro condition while being nonpartisan? Mike, I think that's a great question. I come from a family of immigrants. My father happens to hail from a Caribbean island of Jamaica. And, very much scared about what the immigration policies are. So happy, please reach out to us. We love to continue that conversation. Yeah, so then we're going to do, and I don't want to mispronounce your name, Ozi Mena. We are going to roll out the specific cities as our state captains are aligning some of those pieces. I think it's happening later on this week. But yes, there will be a specific one that we're going to roll out. Thank you, Robert, as well for giving us. Yeah, we love the community locations. Again, we're really trying to figure out how we bridge that educational piece. We know funding is being taken away from HBCUs and educational institutions, so we're trying to make sure we're supporting that and having that be an underbelly of our work of bringing back Black men back to higher education. Um, no, I wouldn't necessarily assume FAMU in Florida. We know FAM is going through a very unique period of time in choosing their next president. And so I think we were looking at Miami Gardens, Jeremy, if that's right, right?
Yes, FMU.
FMU. And so we're looking down southern part of the state. Uh, Derek Jackson, thank you for the overview about the 18 cities. My question is twofold. Is the expectation for your tour to build capacity and infrastructure for Black men to leverage during the election cycle, or the goal is simply to listening tour to develop messaging and education? I think it's both and. So, and then I'm going to go into our longer term. I'm going to come back to Derek to answer your question. Okay, thank you. I think somebody caught something that we need to fix in our document. Appreciate that. Yep. And yeah, I mean, look, so we are trying, and I think Robert Simmons knows, is a dear friend. We're taking all of the in. We want to make sure, but it's not going to be the perfection of everyone. So we're not excluding community colleges or trade schools, but we are trying to do a very concerted effort to make sure that we are looking at HBCUs specifically because funding is being threatened there. We're looking at universities and institutions that serve high Black populations. And so if they meet those requirements, happy to work with them, not opposed to being anywhere. But again, love the ideas and the thoughts. Okay. So I think Derek Jackson asked about two parts. Is it to build infrastructure and capacity for an election, or is it just to simply listen? I wouldn't put simply, but I appreciate the question because I don't think we do a lot of that, especially as we're talking to Black men, that we're not giving them time to give us feedback. So a part of this tour is to do that. But that's why this isn't just about 2026. It's not about 27, 28. It's beyond. So here is our game plan. Late breaking news. Okay. Perfect. What we're trying to do is build out for our State of the Black Man, which is going to happen in January of 2026. And so here is our agenda and our strategic plan, if you will, of where we're going. And I see some Q&A has come, and I'm going to get over to that in a second. These listening tours that we're doing in each of these cities helps develop where the thought processes are from a multitude of Black men. We're going to be doing, obviously, the ethnographic and the qualitative piece. We're going to be doing focus groups, and then we're going to be doing polling. And out of that, we want to guide an understanding where Black men stand from a national perspective. And we're going to continue, I think, with another 15 cities if we can get the funding for tour number 2. But then we're also trying to make sure that Black men are just communing in community. So whether that means you're coming out and playing with us at a Top Golf or a golf location that we're going to do before this tour starts, whether you're going to join us for our spades and dominoes tournament later on this year. All of this is guiding up and creating the framework for to join us, whether you're going to be here in DC at the Congressional Black Caucus Annual Legislative Conference in September, or you want to join us in the State of the Black Man in January. At the State of the Black Man, we're going to take all of this feedback and we're actually going to start the writing of the national Black male policy agenda. And then at the end of January, going into February, you as a Black man will be able to take this and say to a candidate or working with our state captains on the ground, if you're a candidate running for office, we actually want you to sign the policy agenda, that you're in favor of it. Locally, from municipal to federal, all across the board, we want you to be engaged. So once you sign, now we've got an agreement that you're agreeing to these terms. And this isn't going to be decided within a bubble, but it's nationally going to be influenced. So when you show up to the State of the Black Man, you're going to be assigned a particular policy area that's of interest to you. So whether it's healthcare, education, economics, community, leadership, whatever it may be, as we write these. And then you're going to be a part of the actual writing of it, and you're going to come back. So please, it's not going to be another conference that you show up, you snap and you clap, and we all agree. It is actually that you're going to be working with your working group over lunch, over dinner, over drinks. You're going to be working on the policy, and you're going to be credited as being a part of this. It's a communal effort. And then when we come into February, most state capitals will have just started their state legislative sessions. We want to work with our state captains in those states to push anywhere but no more than 1 to 3 pieces of legislation that we're going to be influencing Black men specifically. Now, it doesn't have to say House bill or Senate bill, Black men, da 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 da. It could be something that improves the lives of men or the community, but has a very direct effect on Black men. But if you will, with us, now we've listened to Black men in our community. We've written a policy agenda that directly affects them. And now we're taking that, we're holding elected officials accountable that say they want to go for it. And then we're then also working to pass legislation so that when we come back into the community and say to our brother, now we need you to register to vote and vote, they have now been heard. They participated in this process in terms of the writing a policy that believes that's going to be the betterment for the community. They passed policy in their community, and now they see the transitory effect of them being engaged. So to Derek's question, it is about building capacity, but not just for an election. It's not just for a political party. While I may vote for someone, that doesn't necessarily always do right by our community and for our best interest. And we want to make sure we're holding those elected officials accountable. Okay, so I think I answered Derek's question. Great. Perfect. Kay McDaniel, once I see the list of cities, I will be more open to volunteering. Perfect. Participant action research is my calling. Love it. Yep. I've been in a few town halls in Austin, and I think Kay McDaniel, especially Black male participation, has been abysmal. Yes, and this is the time to change it. This is your opportunity. This is not to say, hey, well, what is my voice? We are literally saying we're writing it. So no longer do you have to say, well, there isn't a study out there that points to it. We're giving the opportunity for us to do that right now. Okay, let me come over to Q&A, and then I'm going to take a break because I'm going to hear from Jeremy, because I know he always makes the ask for us. We talked about Ohio. Keith Burnett, in my opinion. I think our power is in our political unions, Black men. I'm trying to make sure. Okay, perfect. No, so Keith Burnett said, in my opinion, I think our power is political unity, and Black men can create change legislative, which means building our own power structure within one of the political parties. Other groups manipulate the laws to work in their favor. And with the current leadership, it is time we create a younger, more or less elitist type of leaders. Don't disagree with you. Thank you. I appreciate, Keith, you sharing that. Anthony Brown, does the listening tour allow for capacity building with individuals and organizations and community? Of course it does. So let's take Detroit, for example. Kyle Van Lopes is our state captain in Michigan, in Detroit, where we're going to be. But we want to have Ypsilanti, Saginaw, Ann Arbor, Pontiac, Flint, Western Michigan. We want brothers from all around the state to come in and be a part of this. It's not just because you live in one city, you have a right. We can't be everywhere. So we're going to try to do a way that we bring in those groups. But we would love Detroit, Force Detroit to be a part of this. We'd love New Era Detroit to be a part of this, whether that means Black Voters Matter or other groups that are in the community in Detroit. We welcome them all. And we welcome sisters to tell their fathers, grandfathers, uncles, cousins, brothers, friends to come and be a part of this. So if you're listening here and you're like, well, I'm a sister, I don't know if I can fit in. Yes, we want you to tell someone in your network that is a Black male or that identifies as Black male to come and be a part of this gathering. Your voice needs to be heard. And then Keith Camper, are you looking for a captain in the Hampton Roads area? Yes, we are. So Keith, thank you. We're definitely going to take that back. I think I saw you earlier, Keith. We're definitely going to reach out to you for VA, because that's one that we're trying to close on the gap on. Let me pause here. I'm going to take a breather. Jeremy, over to you as you keep us honest in all of our work. Tell me where I missed a mark, or what may I have forgotten, and then we're going to see if we can bring somebody else in to chat with us.
No, I don't think you forgot anything. I'll touch on the tour from a different angle. I'll actually touch on it from five powerful principles that we're using to help guide us on what we're doing. So next month, we will start our Unmuted Black Men's Listening Tour. But this isn't just a series of events or conversations, as Khalil was saying. This is a bold step in a movement that has always been waiting to be born. A movement rooted in the belief that Black men deserve to be truly seen, to be truly heard, and truly valued in every space that shapes our lives. This tour is a collective journey, and it's built on five powerful principles that guides everything we do. So first, we'll talk about unity. We're not doing this alone. From the earliest planning stages to the moment we're in right now, your voices have shaped this work. Your ideas, your stories, your feedback, they've breathed life into this tour. And this is our tour. We're building it together with every hand, every heart, and every voice joining in. Second, clarity. We believe that transparency is respected. So you will always know what's happening, why it matters, and how you can be involved. This tour is not a mystery or an echo chamber. It is clear, it is intentional, it is real. Every person who joins us will understand the purpose and the power of their presence. Third, celebration. This tour is not just about the struggles we face. It's also about celebrating the strength, the creativity, the resilience, and brilliance of Black men. We are fathers, brothers, artists, leaders, dreamers, and our stories are rich with joy and triumph. This tour will shine a light on all of that, and we will lift each other up as we go. Fourth, adaptability. We come with open ears and open hearts, ready to listen deeply and to change as we learn. If the story on the ground is different from what we expected, we will adjust. If new needs arise, we will respond. This tour will not be rigid or fixed. It will be living and breathing, shaped by the very people it is meant to serve. And finally, impact. The voices we lift will not be left to fade away. We are building a foundation for lasting change, turning the stories we hear into data, policy, partnerships, and action that will ripple throughout communities for years to come. This is about creating power and possibility, not just moments. But here's the truth, none of this can happen without your support. To start strong next month, to show up with purpose and power, we need resources. We need people who believe in the importance of listening, not just hearing, but truly listening, and want to invest in a future where Black men's voices are front and center. So tonight, I'm asking you to give what you can, whether it be $10, $50, 250 or more. Every dollar fuels this movement forward. Every dollar helps us keep the doors open to honest conversation. Every dollar helps us build the trust in the spaces where the change can take root. If you believe in the power of community, if you believe in the dignity and worth of Black men, if you believe that this moment can be a turning point, then I invite you to stand with us and invest in Unmuted. We're about to step into something real and necessary, and I want you to be there with us, building this movement, shaping this future, and keeping us all unmuted. Thank you all for your time. Thank you for your belief. Thank you for your generosity. And thank you for showing up on our calls and giving us your open and honest feedback. Because as I said, and as Kalila said, it truly does impact the work we do. We truly listen with open ears and open hearts. And we take it and we change and make adjustments where necessary. So I'll drop the link there. I'll even drop my email, but I'll send it back over to you, Khalil.
Perfect. And I know we've got another team member on. I'm putting them on the spot. Tyler, I'm not sure if you want to come up on screen, but you're always welcome. Let me take a second to thank Jeremy, Robert, Tyler, Thomas, Ace, who many don't get to see, but designs all of our materials. John, who am I? Chelsea and Brian, and Thomas. I think I said Thomas, but if I didn't, forgive me. But our goal here is to make sure we're engaging our community. So I know that this is impactful work. as many of you have heard me say before, I have an amazing 8-year-old CEO who keeps me honest every single day and is about to go to do some summer stuff this summer because she's out of school. Um, I think many of us on this call, whether you're a parent or you're a step parent or you're stepping in the gap to help, or even just have family, all of us want to have a very baseline general things. We want to wake up every day healthy. We want our communities to be a healthy place to live in. We want to have a safe space to live in, whether that means a roof over our home, whether apartment, home, or what have you. We want to be able to afford the place that we live in. I was watching the New York mayoral race, and big shout out to our brother and co-convener Michael Blake, who is still running strong. But affordability was one of the largest issues. We want to be able to put food on our table, put a little bit of savings away, make sure our kids can go to, and our family and our community can have a safe school for them to go to, have a job that requires, it gives us stability, but also, hopefully can provide a space that we can thrive in, save a little bit up for a vacation, and then be able to retire. That's not just unique to Black men. I think that's what all Americans want, male or female, wherever you span on the gender spectrum. And so what we're trying to do with Women Black Men and sharing a little bit of you what our future looks like, we hope tonight you will see that this is an opportunity for you to sign up to participate. So I was going back to the chat of where we have folks that may want to be state captains and have autonomy to do this. What you'll see when you come on the other side of the wall is that we have some prescriptive things that we want to do, not because we want to be rigid, but we know it is important to show up in a very authentic and unique way. And so we're trying to make sure we do this work, given the capacity that we have, making sure that we do it honestly and with integrity. And that when people show up for us and they hear about the work that we're doing, they're like, all right, I want to rock with Women Black Men because they didn't just show up at an election time. Look, I mean, this year alone, we've endorsed Ras Baraka, Mike Blake, LeVar Stoney. I think there's a few other mayors, Randall Woodfin and Andre Dickens and Stephen Reed. And I'm sure there's a few others that we're going to endorse between now and the end of the year. But we did so because we want to be true to our mission that we're supporting Black men as they're running for office. Next year, we're going to build out a more robust endorsement process so that we can think through it. But it fit within most of our targeted states. And so we were looking at how we can participate with them. But our work needs to be improved upon. I don't believe that I have all the ideas. We're just trying to create a framework that we can provide community and continue to build. And I'm excited that here on a Sunday, we've got 66 brothers leaning in that want to be a part of that process. I'm going to go back to our Q&A here. All right. I know Jeremy had put some stuff in. Let me see where we are on our chat right now and bring some of the questions that folks had here. Thank you to Dr. Rasai Malima, who wrote mental health parity policy in Florida I think for Florida with allies and people of African descent. We welcome that. Please show up to the State of the Black Men. Come out to one of our listening sessions where you are. K. Darrell McDaniel, satellite locations. Yes, we can figure that out. We're working through that. And again, we are welcoming that. So I'll take that back as feedback. I'm going to scroll through this. We have capacity to do what we can. And we want folks to get in, but we want to make sure. And so, to K. Darrell McDaniel's question about a satellite, and I'll read it through. Would there be also capacity for satellite locations in respective state? If the unmuted event is in Houston, would be nice to have local chapters in Austin or Dallas to meet and join virtually, but with those are respective cities. And so what we've thought about, and we're happy to work with you on this, is how do we make sure the structure of the scientific research continues to work through? So, Kay McDaniel, I have you down as our person in Texas that Robert's going to be reaching out as one of our potential state captains to see how we can make this work and bring those ideas. The struggle that we're working with is we could open this up to everywhere, but then we want to make sure it's impactful and the research comes back in a way so that as we're building upon this and doing more, we can build from there. But not opposed to it. Let's see how we can make it work. My fraternity brother, Dr. Enya, exciting, loving the national policy agenda. Yes, Dr. Enya has been featured in our resource email, has my John Henry Health Equity Playbook, a 4-year health policy agenda for Black men planning to launch in DC this fall. It includes practical tips, scripts, and strategies for how to engage with elected officials at the local, state, and federal levels. I think this is a not just because he's a fraternity brother, and I think there are others who said this, but it's a salient point to point out whether it's him or Dr. Malima. There are brothers doing amazing work daily in our communities. They may not be on MSNBC, they may not be getting the viral moment on TikTok or Instagram, but they're doing the work. And our goal and what we're trying to do is bridge that national divide and bring that work together in a space that we can amplify and uplift. So appreciate you, Dr. Enya and Dr. Malima, and others who are doing this. Thank you, Jeremy, for putting on the chat. Perfect lived experience. Derek Jackson coming back to me. I love it. His concern is that we are still experiencing low voter turnout in our communities across America, especially in Black cities. Nodes to including rural areas. If we are not aligning our resources and objectives to change this trajectory, we'll continue to see turnout decreases. Yes, Derek, it's why we're looking at doing work in Louisiana and Jackson and in Jackson, Mississippi and Montgomery, Alabama. Like we can't be everywhere. I would love it that we didn't just go to Atlanta, not because Atlanta isn't great. Andre Dickens, I know is doing Mayor Andre Dickens doing good work. We'd love to be in Augusta, Savannah, Albany. In Florida, I'd love to be in Duval County as much as I'd love to be in Tampa and other places. We are trying to make sure we can touch as many as we can. And then how, again, in January, Say the Black Man, you all now have an invite. You just got to register and get there. We are inviting you to come. We don't have the exact location just yet, but we are working on building that so we can. And then in July of 2026, we're going to be doing the Empowerment Conference, which is not just going to be focused on policy, but a few other areas. Okay. Richard Gardner, looking forward to the movement. It's full tangible benefits and goals that we can have our hands on making a difference. Love it. Darnell Carter, I'm interested in being a state captain in North Carolina. Perfect. Love it. James Howard is in Miami. Okay. Derek, yep, I am 100% with you. So Derek is reminding us of our Black turnout numbers, 2012, 66.2%, 2016, 50.9, 2020, 62.3, 24, 59.6. And a part of our work here, and it's why we're doing come out and hit a bucket of balls with us at Top Golf, be a part of our Spades and Dominoes tournament, show up out to our listening tour, help us write the policy, help us enact policy is in those 5 things. I'm not talking to you about registering to vote and voting. I'm not coming to you and telling you this is the most important election of your lifetime. I think everybody has heard that over the last multiple elections that we can go back to 2008. They're all important, but your mayor's races are important. Your sheriff races are important. Your district attorney races, judicial races, all of these. And so in our 5 areas, what we're trying to do is recondition our Black male community to understand. Let's start here. Let's build community where we listen to each other and we trust each other. Let's write policy that is written by us and for us, not by a candidate or a party. Let's then hold elected officials accountable to our policy. Let's engage in community that doesn't necessarily have to do about politics. And then let's pass some legislation that we can get behind that improves it. If we can do those 5 things, I am sure and I am hopeful that we're then going to build more capacity for people coming out and voting in the election. James Howard said he wants to work in Miami. I think Jeremy followed up with him. Timothy Fields, would there be opportunities for individual companies to partner to share information and or products to share with the community? Yes, we would love that. So we can, I'll definitely come back to that, Tim, and see how we can get that in. All right, going over to our Q&A so that I can see here. Does the listening tour allow for capacity? I think we had, just want to say, oh, yeah, appreciate it. That proves why Anthony Brown has got so many questions coming in. Love it, Frat. Yeah, John, I think we're trying to do our best. We're providing a readout from the chat for you. Let us know if you have questions. Tyler, I think, is engaging. Tyler runs our state electeds and state, local, municipal elected officials. He's engaging in that piece and will be a part of our policy piece as well. And then Kevin Lloyd, will there be any ad campaigns through local Black-owned media platforms like columbusblack.com. Thank you for sharing that, Kevin. I'm going to make sure we take that down and we do that. But yes, our goal is to make sure, as Issa Rae says, voting for everybody Black. We want to make sure. It's why the caterers that we're going to be using are Black caterers. It's why we're making sure that the dollars that we're giving are going back to Black-owned grocery stores and Black gas stations. So yes, we are going to try to make sure we're doing digital ads, but then we're looking at op-eds in all of the local Black-owned papers and making sure that we can run ads depending on our budgets to get information out there, as well as engaging in our faith community to make sure they show up as reminders in the announcement sections in church. Okay. Let me see. I think we're almost at time. We're going to take a couple more questions or comments that folks have in the chat, but please, we are here for you. Tyler is on. There he is. We are here for you to work with you all to make sure that this can be a successful endeavor for every Black man that shows up. We're working through the rules of the road as you show. Look, it isn't about organization. When cousin Jeff Johnson and I and others were in Baltimore, we only had 45 minutes to discuss Black male mental health, if you would, as a breakout session. Obviously, not a whole lot of time. And that's no shade to anybody. It just was the time that we had. But it took us about 20 minutes to go around as we did introduction. So a part of this tour is to say, hey, we want to know about you. We know you have a business, and if you sign the MOU, a community partner, you'll get your logo in that partner page with us. If you're a Black-owned business that wants to sign on as well, great, we'll amplify. We ask you to share the information, and we tag you in the post that we're doing. But as you come to our listening tours, it's really what is going on in the community. Not necessarily for you to give a sermon or to proselytize or to stand on principle, but how can we hear and allow as many voices in the room to be heard, and then we can get a diversity of thought. So please, if you know a young brother or even an older brother who may be disenfranchised with the work and the movement and the times that want to come out, please do. If you've heard from that brother in the shop that says, I don't think my voice matters, I'm not sure what my vote means, this is the time to get them into that space. If you're in the middle and you're worried about what yesterday meant in Iran and how it affects us, I know I'm very much thinking through these issues right now for me and my little one in our family. Please come out. So our goal here is to make sure that we are engaging as much as we possibly can. As I said, we want to make sure if you're part of the faith community, veteran community, labor community, LGBTQ AI plus community, if you're a part of 17 to 30, we want you there. We want you there if you're 65 to 100. We want as many of our Black male voices to be represented on this tour, so at the end of it, it isn't just that we checked, and for many of you who know me, Instagram and social media isn't my thing. This isn't about clicks. This isn't about likes. This is about creating data that can monumentally change how we think about and how we engage Black men at a civic engagement level. Not about a campaign, not about a party, but how do we move the needle for our community and for our Black men? Jeremy or Tyler, anything else you want to close us out with?
Good evening, everyone. My name is Tyler, and I just wanted to stress the importance of our push calls that we do. We are holding push calls on Wednesdays and Saturdays, and those are mainly just phone banking. As we do understand, the one big beautiful bill is on the Senate floor right now, and it will be voted upon in the next coming weeks, and about probably the next 2 weeks or so. And so the push calls is brothers calling their senators or other state senators to about their feelings to the bill. If you want mostly advocating against it, if there is something that you feel that will harmfully impact your community, or just the Black community in general, you are more than welcome to say that. Also, the push calls are also to encourage young people to participate in our civic life. So if you do know young folks that do want to be more involved in politics or, community organizing, this is a perfect time to do that. They could be high schoolers. I remember I just graduated college, so I remember when I was a high schooler, I wanted to be more involved in politics. And so this is a great opportunity for those and for recent college graduates or people or students who are still in college that want to do something for the summer. This is a great opportunity. One thing I would like to remind us is that influencers may go viral, but organizers, we change history. And this is us changing history right now. No matter how they vote, the bill or, the politics of the Senate, we are making sure our voices are heard when we are doing these push calls. They're not only for the one big, beautiful bill, but for right now, they are. So if you would like to join us on Wednesdays or Saturdays, they are at 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. You can hop on and off the call however you like. We'll set you up with our system. But if you would like to be involved, you can put your email down and we'll make sure we get you on our email list. Thank you.
Tyler is being very modest. He is leading a large portion of our organizing effort with our state captains, and so thank you for reminding me, Tyler, about this. And we just talked about this yesterday, so forgive me for forgetting. But if you imagine, folks, as you're on this evening, I'm sure you've heard about the big, beautiful bill that's coming up on Congress that someone wants to have passed on July before or on July 4th. And so what we're saying is, if you disagree with it, you don't believe that it's going to bring betterment for Black men in the Black community, we're asking you to drop in the link right now. I'm going to put it back in there for you. Click the link. Sign up to join our push call fight. We will train you. We did a training yesterday. I think Tyler and Robert right now are thinking about doing another training tomorrow. And then this Wednesday from 10 a.m. to 12 p.m., we are making calls to the U.S. House of Representatives and the U.S. Senate to tell them to vote no on the big, beautiful bill. So we are asking right now, I want to see thumbs up in the chat or by a show of thumbs that we can see going. Who wants to sign up right now and make sure that they can make calls with Tyler and our team? Okay. Quinn Russ said, let's start by taking out the word beautiful. Yes. Not how I described it, but all right, we got one. Now, brothers, we got two. James Howard, Dr. Malima has signed up. Come on, we can get 8 more brothers tonight that can make time out of their day to make calls this Wednesday to let their members of Congress, Senate and House, know that this bill does not speak for us. Again, this isn't about partisan. We are saying we want to make sure that a woman's right to choose is protected, that Medicare is protected, that your right to travel and not be shipped off to another country is protected, that the rule of law is protected, that HUD can continue the housing subsidies that greatly and proportionally affect our community. Okay. Richard Gardner is in. That's 3. I need 7 more before we jump off. Come on, we can get there. We've got 61 people still on this Zoom right now. We just need 7 more thumbs up. Okay. All right. Derek Jackson is signing up. K. Darrell McDaniel, Richard Gardner, James Howard. How many is that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We need 5 more. I know we can get 5 more right now. Let's see. Who else can we get a thumbs up and sign me up? Tyler is waiting. Now, I'm not going to joke with you all where we're going to tell you to close the church doors and no one can leave before we get the next 5. But my hope is that we can get 5 more brothers tonight to put their thumbs up, sign up to make these calls. If you have already filled out the form, I'm going to drop it in the chat one last time for us. Perfect. Okay, we've got, all right, what do we have? I think we just got a couple more. All right, so that's 6. Rod Jackson, Timothy Willis is 7. Oh, we're at 8. Okay, we just need 2 more brothers. And then we're going to let everybody go. 2 more brothers. All right, Derek, we just need 1 more. 1 more brother who's going to sign up. That'll get us 10 to get going this Wednesday. Who we got? Who's that one brother? All right, Quinn Russ, we got there. That's what I love to see. Power in action. We've got 10 brothers right now Tyler, who you got committed. We got 11. Kevin, I don't know if that's for my 10th chapter, but we'll still take you. I'm joking.
One thing I will also add is if you know people, send this out to them also. So send this out to your chapters. Like I always say, this is great for D9 orgs because we do have initiatives that support this. So send this out to your chapters, send this out to other chapters in the area and also to our college chapters. also. So, and also if you're part of other groups outside the D9, send this to them also.
Of course.
It's
Mace,
just,
go, Giorgio.
I'll get in there for a second. I was gonna say what Tyler just said on the end. Let's be sure that we're sending this out to even more. Oftentimes, people now hear me in the fundraising capacity, but Tyler is used to hearing me more in the policy capacity. So I just want to give like a few things of why we definitely need to do these push calls. I also will probably be joining the calls and making some, but it's vitally important because this so-called one big beautiful bill cuts Medicaid and SNAP benefits. There's less investment in education and health services. And I know Dr. Enya's work really does talk about the importance of health services. And more broadly, the social determinants of health. There are environmental rollbacks that typically and always go harder at Black communities. It tries to centralize more federal power, which ends up weakening local authority. We see what's happening with that weakening of local authority out in LA currently. It creates new judicial constraints, which equals less legal recourse. There are tax cuts that favor the wealthy. There are threats and to all different other types of communities. So let's be sure if you're on this call, we want to see you there, but we also want you to spread the word to others in your own network and have them join so we can speak with a collective voice against this piece of legislation.
I work with such a great team. I think John Phillips is another one. Kevin, I appreciate the smile. And Vincent, welcome. We welcome everybody. And so I'll close with this. And this is about community building. I think Dr. Robert Simmons and I were chatting a couple of weeks ago after the call previously about how we're not trying to reinvent the wheel. We're not. This is a big tent. We welcome everybody. We just wanted to create a convening space that people can come and know it's safe, number one. And number two, we are only here for the betterment of Black men and the work that we're trying to do. And so we welcome every single group that we will partner with anybody. We want to make sure that we're getting this word out. We shared with you a little bit of what our strategic plan is for the remainder of this year going into next year. We want and welcome all of you to be a part of this. Some of us are great at doing some things. You're not going to necessarily see me there at a rally, but I'm going to help organize in our community and make sure we can be better. So I want to thank each and every one of you this evening for hopping on, for being a part of this call. I hope you leave tonight empowered. You have a link in there, and I'm going to drop it in one last time for you that can sign up for the push calls if you haven't already. If you're not receiving our Tuesday resource email, please sign up. It's right there at the top of our website. Go. Keep an eye out for when we're going to drop later on this week. It'll be on social media, but we're calling on Black men to join in and listen up. They're signing up to be a part of this tour and share it on social media in a concerted way. We are going to be doing a part of our organizing mentality. We're going to be doing reconfirm calls. We're going to be texting you to make sure that you come out and you're a part of this. This isn't just saying, hey, this is a top line thing. We just want a certain group of brothers to be there. We want, and I need everybody to hear this. We are calling on every Black man in your community to come out and be heard. Because if you don't, if you sit in your living room and you yell at the TV, if you just sit in your one small community and just share your thoughts, but we can't get that information to share with other brothers nationally, I want to know what's happening in Austin and Dallas and Houston, Texas. So the brother in LA who just fought against the, I will call it the invasion, not determined by their governor for their National Guard, he can know what tactics he needs to use. To the brother that lives in Maine or Minneapolis, Minnesota, or Chicago, or Florida, all of us can come together and start sharing resources. We know a powerful thing is once we start convening as a community, people start looking up and start wondering what we're doing. And so we're starting now, looking forward to working with each and every one of you on this mission. We're not just talking about voting and voting for a candidate. We are talking about making systemic and systematic change for Black men in our communities. All right. Thank you all. I think it's been a great call tonight. Thank you for empowering me with some energy because from a personal side, there was just some stuff going on. And I wasn't sure how I was going to come to the call tonight, but I'm leaving empowered. I'm going to be there with Tyler on Wednesday at 10 a.m. to make calls to my congressional members about the great big bill. So the next call is going to be on July 6th. We're probably going to be finishing up just at Essence, but we're going to be on July 6th. So appreciate you, each and every one of you. Thank you for being here. Thank you for joining us tonight. And we'll see you on July 6th, if not before then. Thank you, brothers.